This guest talked about we were here first as Indigenous First Nations, Inuit, or all other names they use, for various categories of people that have been here longer and before, Europeans, colonists, and colonizers as well. Not just people. Some of the people that came, they didn't come to kind of be bad. They came to escape what was bad a lot of time in Europe too, eh? So, like for me, when if my human rights complaint goes through and it includes the elites of Kitkatla, I would say to the judge, can they show any sign of reconciliation with me? And here's the definition of reconciliation. But the hypocrisy of Canadians and the laissez-faire, unless it impacts them directly, the third cultural pattern of Canadians, which lead to evolutionary dead ends as social creatures, right? Is that, there's things going on with like Trump saying Greenland, we were there first, we had boats there first, whatever. Well, there were people living there before even your boats went, whether you think you're the first or not. And we say we protected them, we should have kept. So if you protect somebody, you own them? Like, there's so much hypocrisy and incongruence. Will they mention it? Will they mention, hey, why are you against us? Or why do you not want to help us with our rights, but you want to help Greenlanders with what Trump wants to do? Again, it's like, how does it impact me? Do I have to be a part of this conflict? Does it have direct consequences with me? It's not about right or wrong or principles that maintain some sort of form of decency and an ability to maintain for a while until we evolve more, except we won't, a stable proto-civilization. Because again, we've never achieved civilization. Look up the definitions of it. We've never as a species achieved it in the long term, a stable civilization anywhere around the world. So again, look at what's happening with Gaza again. You can see all the hypocrisy of same old. And because they title it or use slightly different language, because you could, for example, I said this when the first Avatar movie was out and I drove some First Nations clients from Salt Lake Society on trips, I asked, hey, did you guys see this movie and what did you think? And it was mostly comments on how great the special effects were. Well, if you're amazed by the special effects, let's say, of what Europeans brought, or in this movie, but you don't see the links and the similarities and what really happened in that movie, then, that's why we need all Canadians for reconciliation, because some non-Indigenous need to help Indigenous reconciliation. And Indigenous need to help other Indigenous, saying, hey, we punish non-Indigenous people who came here to help, and we mistreat them, and we think we have a right to. Like, there's a buggy here, okay? And I wonder if it's an Indigenous person that brought it because they think they own things. Like when I worked at the Dunkin' Walmart one time. Oh my God, don't bring me back to that. But I had an argument collecting buggies with a guy who says, this is on our property, so we own the entire Walmart. And his grandma kind of had the same attitude as this guy. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I have to do my job here, and, this is theft, the written laws right now is that who owns this is Walmart, right? This buggy, and it's expensive, and it's, the police would be involved for theft of this. So how much did I argue? Enough with my skill sets I was learning at the time to bring the buggy back. But, that's not reconciliation. And if I would have said, okay, take it, and I'm sorry for my ancestors, except none of my ancestors were around here or even encountered Indigenous individuals, as far as I know. I mean, some of the original ones from France, very likely did. Very likely at that point, the original ones didn't just mingle with other Europeans. Although, when Quebecers go to vacation in the winter in Florida and they make no efforts for decades to improve their English, just like here, I'm playing badminton with largely Vietnamese ladies have very little English and make no effort, and that I could still coach them with just nonverbal communication, but they don't want to go there, they don't want to make the effort. What kind of reconciliation is happening or not? Look up the definition, because reconciliation involves all parties, and it involves a reset. It's not just about apologies or ownership, because ownership is a mental illness in any culture, except they don't realize it, right? Cultures are still in this paradigm of ka-ching and ownership. So that's not what life is about. Remember, we're born as social creatures. So if you evaluate Canadian or any other society on social health and social structures and social skills sets, then we are an underdeveloped country, because we're not born as consumers or engineers or bank account holders. We're born as social creatures, and I see less and less people develop the skill sets to lead happy lives as social creatures in their own relationships, and most certainly not to even come close to even having the right conversations about reconciliation.